Hi guys, and a Christmas welcome to Steve's Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making the sweet crust pastry mince pie. It's very easy to make. Subscribe here if you want to stay in touch with the series of mince pies I'm making. Let's get on and make this mince pie. Now for this recipe I'm just going to preheat my oven to 150 degrees Celsius. That's about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I'm using a much cooler temperature than normal because this particular mince pie I don't want to over brown. So into a mixing bowl I'm just putting 250 grams of all-purpose plain flour, and I'm not sifting it through because it's unnecessary. I'm just adding 125 grams of butter. That's about 4 ounces. This is room temperature butter. And now I'm just going to rub the flour and the butter together until I get a loose sort of breadcrumb. We're just coating the flour so that it ends up nice and crumbly. So we just rub together until we get a nice loose breadcrumb like this. Now you can do this with an electric mixer with a paddle attachment, but it's really quite easy to do by hand. Now into the flour I'm just going to add 50 grams, that's about 2 ounces of Castor sugar. That's a fine sugar. And then I'm just going to use a fork to mix the sugar through. Then I'm just taking 2 egg yolks and I'll pop those into the mix as well. Then I'm just going to incorporate the egg yolks into the pastry mix. Now I'm just going to add 4 ice cold tablespoons of water into this mix just to help bind the dough together. I'm just using a palette knife or a blunt knife just to cut that into the mixture. And then I'm going to take my hand again and just start to pull that out together into a dough. Now you eventually have this nice loose crumbly dough which I'm going to cover and just refrigerate for about an hour to let the dough incorporate the moisture. Okay, I've got my sweet crust pastry dough out of the fridge now and I'm just going to roll it out on a lightly floured surface. So we've just rolled our pastry out till it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. I'll just show you there the thickness. So I've got a 3-inch or about 7 centimetre pastry cutter. I'm going to use that to cut the base for my pies. So firstly I'm cutting out 12 of these discs at this size. This is for the base of my mince pie. Then I'm using another cutter, a 2.5-inch cutter, to actually do the lids for my mince pies. I need another 12 of those. So I'm going to take each of my bases and I'm just going to pop them in this little pie tin here. I think people have different names for this all over the world, but it doesn't need greasing or anything. We're just going to put them straight in there. Now all my mince pie bases are in the tin. I'm just going to take a teaspoon of my homemade mincemeat. Now if you saw the recipe for homemade mincemeat, hopefully you've made your own. It tastes absolutely delicious, by the way. Then I'm going to take my mince pie lid and I'm just going to put a little wash, we might as well use that egg white that we had left over from the earlier egg yolks, around the edges, and then place that on top of our mince pie base and just push it around the edges to get a nice clean seal. Now I've covered all my pies, got the lids on there, and I've cut these little stars with the spare pastry. Now they're fairly thin. I'm just going to pop them on the middle there as an extra little decoration. Now I've decorated the top of my pies, but I need to put some little holes. I'll just use a fork and prick some holes in here to release the steam as the mincemeat cooks. Now I'm just going to lightly egg wash over the top of these mince pies. We don't want to go too heavily. And then I'm just going to take the fine sugar and I'm going to sprinkle that over the top of my pies before they go into the oven. Now we'll pop those into our preheated oven for about 15 or 20 minutes. Keep an eye on them. I don't want these ones to go too dark. So these are the short crust pastry mince pies. I'm really pleased with the way these have turned out, guys. They've got a lovely dusting of coarse or fine sugar, not the powdered sugar that I've used on the other pies. Let's give one of these a try now. So here goes, let's try one of these sweet crust pastries. I've still got the hat on, by the way, and it's 36 degrees here in Australia today, so I'm pretty warm. But for you guys, anything. That's absolutely delicious, guys. That's like a short crust biscuit with a mince pie filling. Now, I probably could have put a little bit extra mince in these ones, but tastes great anyway. Now don't forget, guys, you can get over to the channel and you can see how we make the puff pastry mince pie and the short crust pastry mince pie, as well as this sweet crust pastry pie. Three very similar pies with completely different undertones. So give them a try, let me know which ones you like. I mean, I'm probably going to opt for... Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas and welcome to Steve's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making a Christmas pudding. I know it's too early for a Christmas pudding, guys, but please forgive me, you've got to be making those Christmas puddings nice and early. Really, we should have done this last Christmas. You should make your Christmas puddings the year before for the next Christmas. They get stronger and richer and more flavoursome. So let me show you how I'm going to make this gorgeous, rich Christmas pudding.